What's up? Sitting here in the shop right now. Got the Conseils on the E36. We love those guys over there. People coming there to visit all over. It's been a great place. Been able to meet quite a few people there that have also helped grow the journey so far. But did just want to hop on real quick, talk about a couple things that were really pros and cons of building this E36 chassis. But I'm gonna hang out and wait until we get a few people in here before we start ranting too much. But if you're watching this saved or downloaded, or however you want to look at that on my profile, then welcome. My name's M3rson, otherwise known as M3rson, M3rson. But sitting here in the E36 today, got the Tanakas. Get some major hate for these. Not really a big concern. Do a quick walk around, or we're still waiting for some people to join. Pop in the trunk area. See, definitely a little bit of modification, nothing crazy. But did have this battery mount welded into. It's been really awesome. I will say there was some close calls here. It is super close. Basically, just got to remove the rear strut bar to get the battery. But I did go ahead and do some delete. I did some wire tucking, cross brace in between it, rigidity. But in the frame, give you another look around. In there, no spares. Track car at this point. Do daily at classic chassis. Once again, yeah, we got the Tanakas in there. We'll be changing them out. Get some real harnesses in there soon. Nothing crazy though. But we did go ahead and swap out the coilovers recently too. Here's a little view on the inside. We got one person that just joined. Thank you for joining. Hit that like button. Pop open the hood real quick so we can take some peeks under here. We'll talk about what we got going on. Yeah, it's an older car, so it's got its issues. We got this little strut that's gotta barely hold that mug up. But here's our engine bay that we got. We did do a painted bay, remove everything to get it painted, but we did strip down a lot of the electronics, move them out of the way. Thank you, 13 people. Got 13 people in the chat. Hit that like button. Thank you. But yeah, so intake wise, got the Mishimoto inlet on the throttle body. Still kept the stock mass airflow sensor and everything. And then just a regular cold air intake, K&N filter. Got the Mishimoto radiator set up. Had a little custom mount for that reservoir because it is a pain to mount up sometimes. But shout out Mishimoto. Has been a great radiator since install. We got like very little fan clearance here, but it is definitely still workable. No issues with that. But as far as the setup as well, we did get the BC coilovers installed with the offset. So that actually helps us out with our caster on the front end. And you see we got the wheel lined up pretty straight. Without that, sometimes it can move a little bit further to the front or to the back, but that offset helps out. And we got the camber set to as far back as possible. And then a little peek on the headers here. We had some, oh, nice. There's some plastic meltage there. Got it cleaned off. These headers are pretty cool, but they're nothing expensive, really. I could have had them custom made and it could have been a lot more expensive. So this is the M50 intake manifold. This is the S52 engine. The M50 intake manifold, the runners are a fair bit bigger as well. Helps out with just overall intake on the air side, but again, we did leave the stock, I think it's a 2.5 inch or 3 inch mass airflow sensor. Still stock ECU and control box and everything there. Hop back to the interior. D&D is big anymore, but back steering, I think, which I feel like that brand is just not around, or was around 2019 when I got this wheel, or 2018. Currently, we do have the, shoot, I can't remember what brand the shifter is, but it's chassis mounted, so it is bolted, just to show you real quick. It's bolted literally directly to frame. What it is. Oh well. Here just to show y'all. Chassis mounted shifter. We are going to change this a little soon. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Coolworks. Coolworks makes a really good, actually, Coolworks shift assembly actually bolts straight to the trans tunnel like that as well. But I am looking to install is Drift Tech. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. I will drop their right here, and so that way it can be a middle pull. And that should be coming in here pretty soon, within the next week. Obviously got to have the GT3 RS chilling. But otherwise in the interior, nothing crazy. We do have the rear strut bar. I believe it's from, sorry, not rear strut bar, it's for the harness bar, which could be a little bit better mount. I'll be honest with you, I'd like to have a full cage or a half cage in the chassis, but at the time we were rocking with just the harness bar. Definitely need to get these seats out of here too. We have one right here, little bride seat, as you can see. Trying to get that bride seat in soon. Just requires bracketing and mounting that up in here, which isn't that big of a deal, but sometimes pulling these guys out can be a little worse. Hello, Mason, how are you? We're just talking about some mods that we've done on the E36 M3, as you can see. On the rear end for subframe and everything, here I can show you, just to bounce back to this, we had cut out this rear spare bubble here. I did do a complete rehaul on the rear subframe. It's gonna be really difficult to show right now. Grab a flashlight real quick, but we did do, thanks, I appreciate it, Mason, it's fire. We did do a full rehaul in this rear subframe here. So I actually pulled that out. You can see the polyurethane bushings on the subframe. Got the BC coilovers, getting a little dirty. And then Megan Racing rear camber arms. And then I also went ahead and replaced the, which you're really not gonna be able to see right now, but drive shaft is all the way up under there. And it was factory, and it ended up twisting, believe it or not. I have a picture of it, or a video I'll post soon. But also in the rear, battery setup, we got this battery mounted back to the center of the rear firewall, just because they're normally in this area right here. And having it back in the center has been a lot better, just to keep it out of the way. And not only that, but probably center of gravity helps out a lot too. So it's been good to have that there. But the rear strut bar definitely helps out because these have a real tendency to like shoot the shock through the actual shock tower there. So it's been nice to have that, and feels a little better, I feel like, as far as like for drifting and for hardcore driving. Talk about some other mods on it that were pros and cons. So yesterday we had pulled these out. These are polyurethane transmission mounts. They're like Delrin, really hard rubber. And these guys, this is the left one, these guys were causing a massive, massive vibration. Anyone that has E36 chassis, if you have these or you're thinking about them, don't. Because I'm serious, these things caused so much trouble. It is uncanny. They literally, just this little part in itself, just a trans mount, just mounts, there's two of them on each side of the transmission. Both of these caused so much vibration that my shifter was coming loose, the bolts were unscrewing, there was bolts everywhere that were getting loose, and mainly that also is because in addition to having these in there, which again, they're just transmission mounts, polyurethane, really, really hard rubber. When I had these in, well, basically I had a stage 3 clutch in as well, which was a twin disc, and then I had a lightweight flywheel. And the lightweight flywheel basically just put the whole driveline out of harmonics. It basically made the whole driveline have a harmonic vibration, and then the polyurethane bushings were just making it worse. So every time you'd rev up anything above like 2,500 RPMs, it was just a massive vibration. So we did go ahead and switch those back to OEM yesterday, and the difference it made is astounding. So if you, again, are thinking about swapping out any of your bushings, not for the subframe, I have polyurethane, they're great. I've had no problems with them at all. But as far as, I guess, transmission-wise, and then maybe engine-wise, I have the regular OEM rubber in for the transmission, or for the engine, as you can see right here. And they're again doing great. I've had no issues with them at all. Back to the engine bay, we have the Mishimoto cooling pipes, and those have been great as well. Had no issues with them, no leaking. For anyone that's new in the chat, just to reiterate on this guy here, this is out of a M50 B58, I believe is what it is. So it's a completely different intake manifold, and you have to do quite a bit of work underneath the intake. You can see I have an additional bracket in there, and there's a couple different additions that you have to make to that intake, make it fit in there. So it definitely had been a problem, but in the long run, it definitely helped out because it is pulling a lot more power. I did end up having to swap the injectors as well. You can see the pink tops in there. If you're unfamiliar, pink top injectors for E36 for the S52 platform, they are, I think, 23 pounds, 23 psi, and 23 psi for, I want to say it's psi, I can't remember exactly, I would Google it, but I'm on live, sorry. But the pink tops definitely do put out a fair bit more fuel per second. It's really just a matter of kind of compensating with the intake that we had in addition. So the whole change of that intake was maybe a little overkill, but I didn't want to do any turbo, or I didn't want to do anything natural, or I just want to leave it naturally aspirated, at least for now. I've been pretty happy with it, but there's definitely room for change. Another good look at it. Phoenix, what's going on? Phoenix cat? I got a cat. You see my cat, Phoenix cat? I got two of them. which are both hiding. We'll find one. Oh, here you go, Phoenix Cat. This one looks just like yours. How about that? Phoenix Cat, give me a like for that guy. This is Han Solo. Head back out to the shop. Thank you. But yeah, here's a better look at the rear end on the old E36. I did actually raise it up too yesterday, like an inch. I believe it or not, I had this thing down like on the fender. The rear tire was rubbing a good bit, but it did look really good. The problem I was encountering was in mid drift, like sliding this car. There was so much tuck. I do have the shock set up to pretty stiff. So these shocks actually have an adjustability on them. As you can see for BC, you can change it to off, and between that and then also there's, you know, your rear shock, your rear spring, I should say, that's actually in that spring perch right there. It's a little hidden, but that rear spring perch, and then in combination with that, can really make or break how much it's going to squat. And with it squatting and everything, it was doing a fair bit of rubbing. But I did end up trimming this fender a good bit on this side as well. Yeah, it looks jank for now, but we are putting over fenders on this, so it's really not going to be seen. But shout out to Kansei for these wheels right here, because these things are the bomb. I will say there's a little bit of fitment issues there, but really, again, once we get over fenders on here, it'll end up fitting a lot better and not being an issue or anything. What's up? Drop a comment. Drop a comment. If you're watching and you're live, drop a comment. Say hey. What's up? Hit that like. But yeah, other than that, on the front end, we did do some changes to the front end suspension as well. There's a lollipop bushing right there. You can see it's white. That lollipop bushing is offset, and it is a little bit of a contribution to helping the caster in the front end. Again, caster on these front ends, it can end up pushing the wheel really far back or really far forward. I had some problems with that for a while, trying to just manage which way it was going and how I was going to fix that, but we did end up getting through that too. Definitely a good setup though. It's been driving really, really well recently. The headlights are aftermarket, yes, I know. I get crap for them all the time because these are one piece opposed to the two piece, which I'll probably end up going back to OEM at some point, but I really needed some that actually just worked. And this thing is from 1998, and the headlights in 1998 are no good. No good at all. So ended up putting some in there that were actually gonna function and we're actually gonna light up the road. The taillights too. Taillights definitely need to be changed back as well, either to OEM or to a different aftermarket. Yeah, I took the heat shield off mainly because, again, this is from 1998, and this heat shield that was on here was just turning into dust. But I haven't really had any issues with that, because sometimes you can end up seeing like the paint on the top side flaking, but it really wasn't flaking, wasn't doing anything like that. So it's been pretty good with just having that heat shield off. Maybe I'll end up getting another one put on in the future, but you can see the paint's still pretty clean for the most part. I definitely do want to get it repainted. Once I end up getting the over fenders on, then we'll do a repaint and everything. Check this guy out too. 2JZ build in the works. This is not related to the E36, but got a big old, it's a Borg Warner SX300, I believe. Shoot. And this thing should be pretty nice once it's rolling. I got some like really tough fitment connections that I'm gonna have to make here between the frame rail being right there in the turbo, not being able to be clocked anymore because it's legitimately a hair from the exhaust manifold. But anyone who's done setup with 2JZ IS300, let me know what you did. Drop a comment, tell me how you combated that. It's kind of a bummer, but how about them BMW wheels on the Lexus? I know this isn't the point of the live stream, but just to show a little bit about the Lexus too. Got an interior right now. It was a full interior, but went ahead and took it out because this is gonna get a full cage. It's still in pretty decent shape, interior wise. Door cards are really nice. Had no issues with them. And then we did get that media stand in there as well. This thing is a work. A lot of progress here, but a lot of things to be done as well. Got the hydro sitting in there. This whole floor pan, I ended up chipping every last bit of it out. 11 people in here hit the like. But after getting all that out, we'll end up doing that cage in there and it'll be pretty sweet. Shout out to BC Racing, Garagistic on the build. I have no sponsors on this build. I've had this car for well over 7 years now. In all the years I've had the car, it's been pretty amazing. I mean, it's just been left and right modifications to try to address a lot of the issues that I've had, but it's been nothing detrimental. Still have the factory motor in there as well. Exhaust, we do have just a MagnaFlow, and everything else is pretty stock back there for the most part. I did have it, I think it's the secondary cats removed. I really need to get a new wideband or O2 setup on it, and that would definitely help out with a lot of the fuel ratios and AFR and whatnot, but I hadn't really gotten around to that. But it still runs good without it, regardless. Drop some comments on questions. Anyone have any questions about the build here? It's a 1998 BMW E36 M3. This is mainly track build. Drop any questions that you have about it. Hit the like button. It is a factory M3 though. This is no fake. It's been really, really awesome though. Love the Ganador mirrors on here. You really don't see these a lot on any new cars. I mean, some of the newer BMWs do have them, but this old style, you know, full round Ganador it's pretty amazing. I love it. Got the Conse's, factory calipers. Do need to do a little better setup on there with that. I was rocking these other wheels on here too. So on the rear, like I was saying, we do have a little bit of extra poke, as you can see, like 1.5 inches, probably, maybe 2 inches, somewhere like that. Definitely did some rubbing. Tires got some blast on it. But I was rocking these back here. They're not actually Alpinas, don't look at that. They are M wheels, they're out of a ZM3 or Z3M, however you want to look at that. They do fit on here a lot better. They were actually sitting like pretty much flush with this fender. But we did a fair bit of drifting, got those things knocked out, We still need to get them swapped out, so we haven't really gotten around to getting them swapped back out. On today's agenda, as for the E36, I was just talking a minute ago about how we did swap out the transmission mounts. We had Delrin or polyurethane mounts in the transmission and swapped them to just the OEM rubber. And in doing so, we actually ended up, believe it or not, snapping one of the bolts that held up the transmission bracket. So there's a bracket that crosses underneath the subframe, and when that bracket, it's only held up by 2 bolts now. So part of today's mission is to get one more at least bolt in there to hold that bracket up. If not, it's no big deal, but we do have the good old trusty Husky with all the tools that we need. So we need to take care of that. I will say one of the best toolboxes right here that I've had. Love Husky. Well, not love it, but for this whole setup itself was about $300. And then you have the Stanley Craftsman, which was about the same price. So either way on the build here, you need to get that bride seat in there again. Still waiting on getting a seat bracket so we can get that installed, but it will be super, super fire to have in here. It's got to have some race seats soon. I don't know if any of you guys are going to Import Alliance. Import Alliance in Nashville. It's at the Nashville Speedway, but I am planning on bringing this there. So you will see me at Import Alliance. It's next weekend. I'm gonna sit you guys up here for now. Or maybe even, yeah, sit down here. How about that? Y'all still hear me okay? Everyone hear me okay? Just want to double check. You know, the audio can be crazy sometimes on these. Everyone hear me okay? Whoa. Sorry, trying to find a good location to mount up. Here. So just open this live up just to talk to some of the either non-subscribers or current subscribers about the E36 chassis, the M3. Wonderful chassis. Oh, lost the camera again. Every bit of this car I've loved. I will say I am ready for a turbo chassis. Turbo chassis is right here. Turbo chassis will be done soon. We'll see how long it actually ends up taking, but it is gonna be a pretty awesome build. Let me just show you. I'll just give you a little sneak peek on what we're doing with the turbo build. That's my build. Anyone in the future that may find this, anyone know what engine this is just by the looks of it right here? Drop a comment. What engine is this? Do you know? It's in Fast and Furious. I'll give away a little bit more. Anybody know what engine this is? Drop a comment. Anybody know what engine that is? This manifold too. Yeah, he got it. That's 2 Jay-Z. But what is it, a GE or a GTE? It's a GTE. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a GE. But it's a GE. We're going to do NAT. So we are turboing the GE. We've already done some internal work on the motor, but you can see the turbo setup. This turbo is Not small. There's my hand. And I have a rather large hand, may I add. I mean, it's more than my hand. Not only that, but like look at just the intake part. It's pretty fat. It's a Borg Warner SX 300. But yeah, I mean, even the hot side's pretty big too. But this exhaust manifold has been rad. Yeah, we're not gonna go for too much. I don't want to go for over 1,000. I honestly, with this build right here. Sorry, everybody. Everyone in the live stream now. I was talking about the E36, but this is a IS 300. It's 2002. Not going for 1,000. We're looking for probably around like 500, maybe 450 to be conservative, just to have a good base platform. This thing could rip with like 450 wheel horsepower. I mean, this turbo, this size. This thing could easily put out 400. It wouldn't even be sweating. In fact, I could probably do it without running oil to it. No. We're gonna run oil to it, but it is definitely gonna be an interesting build. Working on it, almost there. But there is other priorities right now. The E36 has been main priority, and it's been fire so far. Done a lot to it in the more recent days. But I'll drop one other little sneak peek here. If anyone can tell me what this is, just by the looks of it, I'm only gonna give away a very, very small peek here. You can't even tell with the front end gone. Anybody know what chassis this is? Smallest sneak peek there. The whole front end's gone, so that's why it's covered up. But it's not too far gone. We have a replacement front end. The replacement front end is right here. It's gonna be a full tube frame. But here, I'm gonna give you a better peek. Someone gotta know what chassis this is. Radadadavulaha, you should probably know what this is. You can see those wheels. Those wheels are kind of a dead giveaway too. It's literally nothing crazy. But this is gonna be a damn good build right here. Anybody know what chassis that is? It's not a BMW. No Ganador mirrors. It's got a hole. I'm gonna give one more peek. Here's one other tidbit about it. Steering wheel's on the right side. Anyone know what car has a steering wheel on the right side? Yeah, I know there's a wiring mess, but it is not a problem. It will be fixed very soon. Steering wheel's on the right-hand side. I'm gonna give you one more hint. It's the only hint you're getting as to what else it possibly could be. We got some Japanese script on there. This is gonna be a stellar build right here. If you think you know what it is, comment. Not gonna give away a whole lot about it. It is on my Instagram though. If anybody follows me on Instagram, they would know exactly what that is. Man, you're the only guy commenting. Yeah, bro, it's Skyline. It's R32. Nobody else can guess what it is, other than you, apparently. It's R32 Skyline. Not a GTR, GTST. I'll show the rear end real quick, just since we already guessed it now. And then we'll get back to the E36. But the rear end's really, really nice. Got the big kaboom on there. Solid rear end though. This will be a really good build. I'm excited about it. I haven't got a whole lot of work into it. I've really only got around to dealing with the front end, which is all covered up now. I'm gonna leave it that way. You're not gonna see it because it's a tragedy, but it's gonna be a pretty awesome build. We're still gonna do the factory, well, not factory, but it's still gonna be an RB25. We're not gonna do a 26. It's a bit too much unless YouTube pays for it. But it would be nice. RB26. RB25, we'll try to go for same thing as this, as the Lexus. We're gonna, hey, there's the dashboard to the Skyline. Had to pull it out, do a little bit of repairs on the interior. But it is, yeah, Japanese. It is a Japanese car. What did I say? Did I say something else? It is, it's pretty sweet. I will say, I mean, like, as for being an imported car, it's pretty awesome. Imported car, it was imported by someone in the military. He brought it back with him from Japan. But not this. This is from Germany. German car. With the Ganadors. I do want Ganadors for the Skyline, but I don't know if anyone's ever looked up how much a set of Ganador mirrors is for a Skyline. It's ridiculous. It is like well over $1,000. I think they're like $2,500 just for the mirrors. Just the mirrors. That's wild. Can you hear me now? Sorry if you couldn't hear me. I hope I have audio. But it was a pretty interesting find to find a four-door. That's what I was talking about. It's just that's crazy. This is a four-door E36 chassis. You really don't see a lot of them. And I mean, sorry, it's a four-door M3 E36 chassis. And with that being said, not only that, but it's manual. Like, how often do you see a four-door E36 that's manual and an M3? Now this one it's had some modifications, but it is a factory M3 manual, which is pretty awesome. I love to be able to say that. Because when do you see a factory four-door E36 M3 manual? Not a whole lot. But these Kansei wheels, originally, these were like, I think 250 each or 230 each. They have now gone up. I want to say it like, someone can Google it or whatever, but I think they're like 450 each. I bought these guys back in 2020, I want to say. Maybe even 2021, somewhere around there. And even back then, those things were still, I mean, inflation between now and then is going crazy. But I really, really like them. The fitment on the front is not like perfect, but it's pretty dang good. And I love to be able to see some lip. It's a good toe full lip there. Nothing crazy. And they're only 18s. They look large, but thank you for letting me know about that audio issue. Appreciate that. I would have been sitting here talking forever with no audio. I tried to hit the camera flip button, and when you hit that, it's pretty close to the mic. But yeah, the intake setup and everything's been pretty fire. You can tell it's a lot bigger than a factory 36 intake manifold. I didn't do much else as far as like to fit that on there other than that, because this does bolt directly up. And it even still holds, you know, your factory dipstick location, and then all your wiring can stay pretty much the same. I did do some rewiring for the O2 sensors just to make them work a little better. But again, the BC coilovers, been awesome. Love the BCs. Love, love, love. But yeah, we do need to get this bride in there. Is it a factory or is it a real bride? I don't think so. But it's totally worth it. Having that set up in there. Honestly, I really would like a fixed back seat. So hopefully we'll get a fixed back seat in there, but we'll see. On the rear end, this strut bar here, shout out to Garagistic is where I got that if anyone's looking for one. They actually do a 4-point mount as well, so one that will go down to your subframe. But I did not go through all that, mainly because of that battery location that I put in. I think I could probably end up fitting it in there because you can have a adjustable bar that goes down to it, and I think it's removable. But yeah, having this whole rear end open has been a little noisy, but it's also been kind of a plus in the fact that I can get the differential out really quick and easy if I need to. Anything in the rear end is really accessible now. But it is kind of funny. Body kit will be on here soon, if anyone's following along for that. Just talking about a few things that we've done for modifications on here. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat already. Thank you guys for joining. Hit the like button. Just sitting here talking about the E36 M3. Yeah, I can't really think of anything that's been, I mean, other than the transmission mounts that were causing an issue, other than that, there's nothing that's been like substantially terrible. I've had to redo some body work on it in a few locations. We did have some rust. I mean, it's a 30-year-old car almost now at this point. So we did have some rust, but I've had to remove or replace, which I did replace a few spots. This wheel well here, you can tell where the body line changed a little bit. I pretty much replaced that whole bottom left-hand corner here, which has been good since. Did do a little trimming back here. Again, this is all not going to be seen once we get an over fender on it. If I get enough people in this live stream, maybe I'll end up being able to pay for it. Inevitably. I mean, I've already sunk in probably, hit the like button for this because I've already sunk in like 20 grand into it. Not counting the purchase price, so hit the like button for that. I mean, 20 G's in modification, and that's going all over, all the way from suspension to engine to driveline. We have a stage 2 clutch in it. It's a UUC. If anyone's familiar with UUC, it's been a really good clutch. It is a little loud, it is a little noisy, and it does definitely engage really hard, but I enjoy it. I mean, that's the point of it, right? You want to engage hard. You want to really have good contact and be able to engage quickly when you need it, especially like drifting, clutch kicking, and stuff like that. You know, you don't want to be missing any opportunity of the clutch engaging or having any problems with that. So I definitely like a stage 2 clutch. Having a stage 2 clutch makes all the difference in the world when it comes to drivability on the track, because if you're having issues with your clutch slipping on the track, if you're having issues even with the clutch just engaging and being sloppy, you know, that can ruin your whole day. And putting that on there changed a lot. But on the exhaust manifold, these are equal length headers, so the intake noise is pretty wild. Drop a comment if you want me to start it up real quick. I'll start it up and do some revs. I'm in the neighborhood, but I don't care. I mean, if I got people, you know, super comments, I would definitely do a burnout right here. No problem at all. I can definitely rip a burnout in here. But we'll see. Anybody want to drop some comments, see it rev? You get 100 people in here, and I'll do a burnout. Easy. 100 people. All we need is 89 more. Get an airplane. Oh, he's in the cloud. There he is. Get a lot of airplanes flying over here. All right, 88 people, and I'll do a burnout in here. 88 more people, and I will rip a burnout in here. Oh, 86 more people. Get some people in here. Tell your friends. I mean, we've honestly just been sitting here talking about everything that we've done to it. I can go over a few things again about what we did for the rear end. We did Megan Racing control arms for the rear camber, and then we did BC Racing coilovers. We got a garagistic brace. It's a strut brace across the rear. On the upper control arm, we did replace it just with the ECS upper control arm. Trailing arm still OEM. Still need to get a little bracket for the trailing arm, but anybody want to see it do a burnout in here? Anybody want to see it doing a burnout in here? We're in the neighborhood, but we will definitely rip a burnout in here. No problem at all. Gotta have 100 people in here, though. You can see the BC Racing coilovers up top, too. Clean engine bay. Years in the works. Paint, not so clean. Got some chippage on the paint. We'll get it rewrapped or repainted soon. But super clean engine bay. But the fitment on the wheels and tires have been pretty good. I've been able to do like some pretty aggressive high-speed drifting even with it being this low. I mean, I can still drift at, 60, 70 miles an hour in trees. And it'll tuck, but it won't ruin it. We've had some rubbish. Had some rubber. And yeah, it's trimmed up. It's definitely not the factory edge there, obviously. But that will be covered by the over fenders once we get them on. I could definitely rip a burnout right here, if anyone wants to see a burnout right here. Here's a good overall view of the chassis. Radadadavulaha. I appreciate you for being in here. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the like. Check out my grass. Definitely got some dust up on the engine bay, but it's no biggie. So, other than that, really, I mean, OEM wise, we have left the engine harness. We left all the factory modules and everything. We haven't changed anything. I'd like to put a Haltech on it at one point, or even just like a standalone ECU, so we can get the ECU set up a little bit better. But it's no big rush on that. Interior wise, still just the factory seats. We got this seat right here to get thrown in, little bride. But we do enjoy the factory seats for now. Yeah, we got the Tanakas. If anyone knows about Tanaka, shout out. They're not the best, but they work in the D&D steering wheel. But it is super cool to see a factory dash. I do enjoy being able to see a factory dash. It kind of makes my day sometimes. Especially when you get to see the tack rev, and everything like that on this car. Just because it's like antique at this point. And I do want to end up changing this and having a double din or even a single din, just touchscreen or whatever. I was looking at them last night. Gotta love having the windows on the center console. I mean, that is so European right here. From the E30 to the E36 and then E46, they took away these. I don't know why they would do that, because having these on the center console is just so gangster. Like, now I ain't got nothing on here. It's amazing to not see anything on there. We got the regular, mirror controls and everything, but so gangster to have your window controls in the center. And then also, every time you get into another car, you're reaching for the window control. Anyone have that issue? reaching for the window control. No, it's right here. I have that issue. I do that a lot. But yeah, D&D steering wheel. It's not a quick release. I'll probably end up putting a quick release in, but I really do enjoy having this. No horn, no airbag. Oh well, what you gonna do without a horn or airbag? Don't wreck. You'll be fine. Still the factory sealing. Definitely ended up wanting to do the Alcantara sealing. Would be pretty cool, but just have not done it yet. Got 4 likes, only 4 likes. I got 15 people in here. Come on, hit that like button. We're sitting here yapping about modifications, about things we've done. I still got the OEM limited slip differential, but we had to pull that mug out because we put the welded in there for some drifting. Very, very good drift chassis. Anyone looking for an easier entry-level drift chassis, look no further than the E36. You'll have to do a little bit to it, but totally worth it. Like I said, I put nearly 40 grand. I'm sorry, 20 grand. 40 would be counting everything, including purchasing the car, but like 20 grand into modifications from suspension, coilovers, driveline, clutch, engine modifications. Interior, we haven't done a lot. Exterior, we've done a lot, and driveline. That's the main thing to me. Still looking to get the new hydro setup that we're going to look at is from Drift Tech. Shout out Drift Tech. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them. We're looking at getting a sponsor with them, have the Drift Tech hydro installed. It's the best hydro setup that you can do in an E36. Let me give an example real quick, how I can describe this any better. If you don't know Drift Tech, look up Drift Tech. It's DRIFTTEC. But if you look in comparison to like a regular hydro or hydraulic handbrake, there's a regular hydro. In comparison to one, when you try to install a regular hydro into an E36 chassis, let me tell you about how it doesn't work. So it doesn't work at all, because where in God's name are you going to put this? This does not fit, especially with, I'm not even in gear right now, I don't think. Hold on, let me put it in first, just so you can see how terrible. Oh no, it is in first, I lied. But still, look, what am I going to do, put it over my window buttons? No, I'm not going to take my window buttons out either. I was just talking about how gangster those are to have in the center. But this thing does not work in the middle here, and I want that pull forward. Some people use the regular parking brake here, which you can do. You can actually modify this and turn it into a hydro, and that way you just have, you know, your regular hydro that you're using right there. But I really, really like this pull forward activity, and this setup does not work. Well, it can, but look how big that is. I mean, even if it was inside the center console here, it does not fit. So if you look up the Drift Tech version, you'll see that basically he's got a whole mount plate underneath this, and it attaches to the trans tunnel, just to show kind of like how this setup is. So it's like that. See how that's mounted to the trans tunnel? That's like how the brace, so like this bottom part, is mounted to the trans tunnel, and that is like the big game changer right there, because then you can have it sit underneath here and a lot slimmer, because really all you need is just the piston there. So if you have it a lot slimmer, you're able to actually fit this piston here can actually go backwards into the cabin, because you do have, look, you still got a good amount of space back here. Like if you were to put the hydro, the actual cylinder back up in here, then you have room for it to be up and not even that far out, and you have a little bit more play for this left to right activity. But once it's down here, then you really have the ability to have it in a position, in a location that's accessible and not gonna disturb everything else, because these window switches OEM are awesome. Love that location. Hey, shout out to the 23 people in here. Hit that like button if you're in here. Appreciate it. Thank you. But for the hydro setup, here, let me bring it back so you can kind of see a little better. Like, look how tall that is, just this bracket alone. So even if this were to be down here, you can still see it's popping up. And it's not even that it's more or less that it's just not in the right spot. Like if you take this and flip it, then you got it in the right spot, because then it's able to be tucked behind that dashboard. But that then changes to where this is not a pull forward, it's a push forward. So Drift Tech did create a little situation that mounts to the trans tunnel and makes it to where you can actually fit the hydro in there. You do have to cut a little slot out of here, just that way it can actually have the handle pop up and be able to pull from right here. But I mean, here's a better view on how much room you have. There's really not a lot of room. It may look like a lot of room between the steering wheel and the shifter. I'm in first gear right now, so not even in reverse. Imagine reverse. Reverse is for BMW drivers now. That's reverse. I mean, there's no room there. So having the slimmest possible right there is really, really going to solve a lot of issues. That's neutral. But yeah, this chassis mounted shifter, you can really tell it does not mess around. And I really enjoy it because knowing that you're in the right gear, or even knowing that you're in a gear, is amazing, because you can easily put any car in the wrong gear. But when you have a short shifter or a chassis mounted shifter, you actually have the ability to feel the slot that you're going into, especially with this one, because it'll actually bang into the slots. But I am looking to change that shifter setup as well. Looking to swap that shifter setup over to the CoolWorks shifter. CoolWorks shifter, it is a little taller, I believe, but it does have the reverse lockout, and then not only that, but it does have the trans tunnel mount as well. So this one is trans tunnel mounted, but once you have the Drift Tech Hydro in here and then the trans tunnel mounted shifter, they really go together really well, where everything sits directly on that trans tunnel with a brace on the bottom, and you have full control over everything in this area. So it keeps everything locked in really tight, keeps everything in place, and then not only that, but leaves you that room for the ability to have the hydro in the right place, because you just can't. I mean, there is minimal room here to get a hydro in. I can't really describe it any better. If you were in person and you could see it, you could really tell how slim it is right there. But just to give an example again, like, look, I'm gonna leave this right here, and so you can see, it looks like there's a lot of room on camera. But I swear the steering wheel is, I mean, when you pull it forward, you're inching close to that steering wheel, especially if you're trying to shift in gear and everything. It just does not work. So having that Drift Tech set up would be ideal. Looking to get that set up pretty soon. But interior wise, pretty rad. I love having mostly OEM interior, leaving the carpet and everything. I know Adam LZ is really, really prominent on keeping interior, especially when it comes to drift cars and stuff like that. Having interior is super, super sick, because then you're not worried about, you know, extra noises or baloney like that. Well, we're approaching 1 hour live. I appreciate you guys for hopping on. Talked about most of the engine bay mods, all the stuff that was going on in there. Anybody have any other questions about the chassis while we're live here? Drop it in the comments. Any other questions about the chassis? E36 questions. It's the E36 M3, 1998. Drift spec. I mean, I've tried to answer most everything that I can about it. It's really been a pretty straightforward car, pretty straightforward build. A lot of things that you got to modify, you know, when you're adding any other additional resources, when you're adding coilovers and stuff like that, you know, there's a lot of modifications you got to do. But, well, thank you guys. Appreciate you for hopping on. Please subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that like button real quick. I'm about to hop off. Hit that like button. Hit that like button just real quick. That's all I need. I'm at 4. 4 likes. I've been live for an hour. Hit that like button. Talked all about the E36 chassis. Talked a little bit about the IS300 build. Got the Skyline hood on it. Skyline sitting out there. About to hop off live, but I appreciate you guys for joining. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. Talk a little bit about this Lexus and this Lexus build later. Hit that subscribe button too if you don't mind. Follow along some of the content. I don't have a lot of videos posted. I have a lot of shorts. Videos will be coming up soon. So thank you guys for watching and enjoying all the content that I've produced so far. But thank you guys and have a good rest of your day.